So this script is, I visited a parallel universe and all I got was this lousy t-shirt, and it's by Russ Josephs. Exterior College Town, street day. The morning sun illuminates a row of small nondescript houses. They look perfectly neat and orderly, except for the occasional beer can strewn across a lawn and some toilet paper hanging off a tree. A house sitting dead center has a large red door directly in the middle of it. It's Wes Anderson's wet dream. Super Monday. The door opens and out comes Trip Witherspoon, 21, good looking, but not as good looking as he thinks he is. With his Hawaiian shirt, aviator glasses, and lip joint dangling out of his mouth, he looks like a fratty Hunter S. Thompson. He places an old football helmet on his head and mounts a rusty Vespa. After a few tries, it starts up and he puts down the road, struggling to break 15 miles an hour. Exterior Main Street day. Trip pulls into a bustling downtown street lined with shops and restaurants. He's driving so slowly that the cars behind him are forced to match his speed. It's like a makeshift parade with Trip as the MC. Exterior coffee shop day. The Vespa is parked in a handicapped spot. The still lit joint rests on one of the handlebars. Trip emerges carrying the biggest cup of coffee you've ever seen. Exterior Main Street day. Trip resumes his place on the road, the cars slowing down to accommodate him. One hand grips a handlebar, the other holds up a massive coffee cup like a baton. He passes a yoga studio with a huge glass window. Becky, the yoga teacher, pauses her class and waves. He holds up the coffee cup above his head in response. Interior lecture hall day. The cup is sitting on a desk next to a textbook with a picture of a very serious looking man on the back. Trip looks up at his professor, the same man on the book who is about to give the lecture. Interior library day. The now empty cup is balanced precariously on top of an even more precarious looking house of books. Trip is at the other end of the table, flirting with the doe-eyed assistant librarian. Interior library night. The table now holds something else. Trip's head fast asleep and snoring. The grumpy matronly senior librarian comes over and shakes him a few times, but he doesn't budge. In doing so, she brushes against the bookhouse and it all comes toppling down, jolting Trip awake. Exterior Trip's house night. Trip puts into his driveway. People are beginning to trickle into the house next door. It looks like a party is starting up. Exterior backyard of frat house night. Trip enters the yard and gets in the keg line. In front of him is Becky, the yoga teacher. He taps her on the shoulder and she spins around and gives him a hug. Interior frat house night. Trip and Becky are slow dancing, making out in the middle of a chaotic dance floor. Exterior frat house night. An Uber pulls up. Becky waves goodbye to Trip and climbs in the back seat. A few seconds later, the car screeches to a halt. Becky opens the door, sticks out her head, and vomits. Interior Trip's bedroom night. Trip stumbles to his bed. Just before reaching it, he falls onto the floor with a thud. Interior Trip's bedroom day. Sunlight pours through, illuminating Trip's lifeless body. The bang of a car backfiring brings him to life. He tries to stand, but loses his balance and tumbles back onto the floor. He tries again, this time using his desk for support. Interior Trip's bathroom day. He flips on the light and it feels like 1,000 suns hitting him all at once. He looks rough, like he's aged a decade. He splashes some water on his face, fixes his hair and starts brushing his teeth. Exterior Trip's house day. The perfectly centered red door. Super Tuesday. Trip emerges looking much like he did the day before. Floral shirt, aviator glasses, joint, only a limp, low energy version. As the smoke from the joint wasps into the air, he follows it up and notices something odd. The sky is purple. He removes the glasses and blinks. Still purple.
Huh?
He gets on the Vespa and pulls onto the street. Almost immediately, he's forced to swerve out of the way of an oncoming car.
Hey, shithead. What the hell?
He turns a corner and the same thing happens, another near accident.
What the? Is there a bunch of Brits in town or something?
He pulls over and notices that all the cars are driving on the left side of the road and the sky is still purple. He examines the joint and tosses it on the ground. Exterior coffee shop day. Trip parks the Vespa in the handicap spot and goes inside. Interior coffee shop day. Trip approaches the counter and smiles at the pretty curly-haired barista.
Extra large coffee, black to go.
The barista picks up a tiny cup about the size of a shot glass and begins filling it.
No, I said extra large.
Right, I know.
So why are you filling up that little one?
This is an extra large cup.
Trip
No,
picks up the largest cup on the counter.
no, this is an extra large cup.
That's an extra small. Are you okay, man? You look a little, I don't know, off.
He's about to argue when he realizes everyone around him is looking at him like he's crazy.
Okay, whatever. Just give me the extra large.
Exterior coffee shop day. Trip approaches the Vespa holding the tiny cup. There's so little coffee in it, he doesn't even bother drinking it and just tosses it aside. A group of students walking by watch him do this.
Bro, that's littering.
Yeah. Cool, no. Trip flips them off and turns on the engine, but no matter how hard he tries, it refuses to start. The students laugh.
What a loser.
Finally, the engine turns over and Trip pulls into the street, right in the path of yet another incoming car. The car slams on its brakes and the screech of the tires is ear-splitting. Everyone looks over to see what happened, including the students who started laughing even louder. Exterior Main Street. Humiliated, Trip drives down the street, this time on the left side. The cars behind him, which usually give him a pass, are now honking mercilessly. He's forced to drive in the bike lane. He reaches the yoga studio, but it's now a pole dancing studio. Becky is teaching a class. She notices him and waves. He half-heartedly waves back. Interior classroom day. About 15 students are sitting at a long rectangular table. Trip enters and takes the last seat. Professor Harris, bearded and pudgy, is standing next to a chalkboard that says Cold War in big letters. Underneath is a picture of two snowmen hurling snowballs at each other, one holding an American flag and the other holding a Russian flag.
Let's pick up where we left off. We were talking about John F. Kennedy. What would you say is his greatest accomplishment?
He scans the classroom for a victim.
Trip, what do you think?
Good question.
I know, that's why I asked it.
Right. Well, it's a bit difficult to say. I mean, you didn't have a lot of time to do much, right? So I guess with the time you had, you probably have to say that...
Sorry to interrupt you there, Trip, but what do you mean by not having a lot of time? He served 2 full terms, which by any estimate is quite a bit of time, wouldn't you say?
2 terms. How do you manage that when you got shot halfway through the first one?
If this is some kind of joke, it's in really poor taste.
What? I'm not joking. Are you joking? I mean, how could you not know that?
Trip looks around the room. Everyone looks disgusted.
So wait, everyone here agrees with this? I'm the only one who thinks Kennedy was shot?
What's wrong with you?
Not cool, bro, not cool.
Sorry. I guess I just got confused.
Confused? Okay, well, let's try and alleviate any kind of confusion you might have, shall we? After Kennedy, who was the next president?
Johnson.
Johnson was his VP, yes, but he wasn't the next president. That would be Bobby Kennedy, his brother.
How'd he do that? Are you telling me that he wasn't shot either?
Of course not.
Shit.
Let me guess. More confusion? I'm not sure where this predilection for assassinations is coming from, but I'm starting to worry about you, Trip. Do I need to make an appointment with a counselor?
Nope, I'm good. Sorry. Truly sorry. I don't know what's wrong with me today.
Drugs?
Learning disability.
Okay, enough. Moving on.
Sorry. Just one more question.
Yes.
What about Martin Luther King?
What about him?
He wasn't shot either?
Certainly not.
Abraham Lincoln?
Of course not.
Tupac?
Who?
Tupac Shakur, the rapper.
Rapper, like a candy wrapper.
No, you know, hip hop.
The entire class is gawking at him, trying to stifle their laughter. Some even begin filming him with their phones. It's too much for him to take.
Sorry, I gotta. I've something I gotta go.
He jumps up and scrambles out of the classroom. Interior corridor day. The corridor is filled with students and faculty. Trip weaves and bobs between them, searching for the bathroom. But there's no men's room. The only thing he can find is a door that says unisex. Interior unisex bathroom day. Trip rushes inside and sees that it's empty. One side is a wall of urinals and on the other a row of stalls. He enters the stall, closes the lid and sits down. He takes out his phone and opens the internet tab, expecting to find Google. He sees Bing instead.
What is this shit?
He types in John F. Kennedy shot and there are no results. He types in Martin Luther King shot and there are no results. He types in Tupac Shakur shot and there are no results. He types in Google and it says a mathematical term which means 10 raised to the power of 100. At this point, he loses his grip on the phone and nearly drops it in the toilet. He looks over and notices that there is no toilet paper, just a nozzle resting in a slot in the wall like a gas station pump. He picks it up and realizes it's attached to a thin hose. As he's fiddling with it, he accidentally turns it on and water starts shooting everywhere. Exterior apartment building day. Trip is standing outside the entrance, shivering like a wet puppy. In a moment, Becky arrives.
Babe, what happened?
I can't even begin to explain.
Come inside. I think I might have something that can help.
Interior, Becky's apartment day. Karen, Becky's roommate, and her girlfriend Maya are cuddling on the couch.
Hey there, Trip. You okay?
Yeah, you look a little moist.
Trip is about to reply, but Becky drags him into her room. Interior, Becky's bedroom day. Becky leads Trip to the bed.
Take off your clothes.
Huh? I mean, sure. Okay.
They're wet. You need to dry off.
Oh, right.
I'll be right back.
Becky goes into the bathroom and closes the door. Trip strips off his clothes and tosses them onto a chair. Now he's only wearing boxer shorts with happy faces all over them. Becky comes back wearing only a bathrobe.
Now lie down.
Trip does as he's told and lies down on his back.
Other way, babe.
What? Oh, okay. Sure. No problem.
He flips over onto his stomach. Becky climbs on top of him and begins giving him a hard and deep massage, literally pushing his face into the mattress. And that's the end of that. I think wearing only a bathroom, she meant bathrobe. I said bathrobe.
Yeah.
It'd be
To
hard
see
to-
her wearing a bathroom. I want to
It'd be
see
hard to
it.
wear a bathroom, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Okay. Thoughts, John? Thoughts?
Funny. Enjoyed it. Definitely want to know where this is going. It seems like the acid trip from hell. A couple of things. If you put the lid down on a toilet, how can you drop your phone in it?
True.
Yeah, and obviously the wearing the bathroom, that was interesting. Maybe it's just a novelty thing, you know, people wear when they get massages. But no, definitely enjoyed it. Only downside to me, the fact that the first 5 minutes is just, well, enough said, there's noddings of heads.
Yeah.
At that, I shall leave it, but I definitely enjoyed it and want to know where it's going.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Dougie, what were your thoughts on it?
I kind of agree. I mean, it's interesting. I don't like the title for a start. It's interesting, but it's way too wordy. The first 5 pages and the description is ridiculous. I mean, you could cut half of that out really easily, and you'd have more going on. That's what my producer's had on as well. I'd have just like whacked straight through that. It's just too wordy, too descriptive. The dialogue's okay. It's a bit not stereotype's the wrong word, but it's written by somebody who's, it appears to me to be written by somebody who's putting on an act of something they know nothing about. Does that make sense?
No.
No, it's like they're writing a version that they imagine is how it actually is.
Okay.
In terms of the dialogue, when it's just stereotypical, I think.
Okay, cool.
But it's an interesting. I like fish out of water and time shifting, kind of Back to the Future type premises. Anyway, so it's really interesting. But yeah, I'd be interested to see where it goes.
Yeah.
But
cool.
it's so wordy. It's far too much.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Emma.
I think I cut the wordiness quite a lot of slack, actually, because the writing that I've done has mostly been for stage and radio. And, you have to be so succinct with your stage directions that I just kind of assumed in the world of film, people just you know, said what they'd like to. And so, yeah, I kind of wasn't too, you know, too thrown by that. And actually, I began to think, oh, is this the first one I've been here for anyway, which hasn't got any dialogue? And I thought, well, Angela's going to be busy. And I thought I kind of had this sort of slightly sort of Jacques Tati kind of idea of, you know, not having any words at all. And then when the words started, I was a little bit disappointed because I thought it'd be quite nice to see this portrayed, you know, sort of silently. But yeah, I liked the sort of premise. I thought it was a bit like, you know, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and things like that, where, you know, indeed that fish out of water idea. And I think it's very interesting, because obviously he's in a horrible predicament, how people choose in these sort of scenarios where everything's back to front, which things stay the same, for example, because you know, people still film things that they think are amusing on their phones, and they still drink coffee, even though small is large and large is small and left is right and all that sort of thing. But I just kind of thought it's interesting how we choose, and I would like to know, you know, how he gets himself out of this corner he's painted himself into. So, you know, it kind of kept me thinking, yeah, I'd be interested. And Wes Anderson, of course, that's, oh, look, Ripley is in the picture.
She's
yeah.
been my assistant all day and she's been very nuisance.
But no, I think, you know, I'd like to find out what happens in this story. And I can sort of picture how it might work visually, I think.
Cool, thank you. Stewart?
Agree with the comments about the start of it, and it took a very long time to get going, it seemed. I thought the first couple of pages, you know, all the description, I wonder whether some of that, you know, I was thinking as I was hearing it, that this is almost like the credits at the start, where things are going on and you could have the credits going over it. So you're setting the scene just visually. But then I realized there was so much and so many different locations and settings that I thought, no, that wouldn't work if for all of this. So so I sort of got rid of that idea. So question, could it be shortened just to set the visual scene for the credits? You know, just keep some of it, but then go into the dialogue and maybe come back to a bit of visual stuff. I don't know. That's just a kind of stylistic and technical comment, really. I really like the scene with the professor and Trip, and the questions about who, you know, they didn't get shot, did they, and all this. That really lured me in, and I thought that was an interesting dynamic. I would
personally love to live in a world where rap didn't exist.
Yeah.
I love it with a passion. So I'll be certainly up for that. Horrible stuff.
And then the only other thing I was going to say was that there was a reference, I think, about him having cars pull out in front of him, and there's a reference to about the Brits.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, hang on a minute, is he an American in Britain, or where is this? You know, and kind of you know, what's this about in terms of the reference to the Brits and things? And is that going to come up later, you know, where there's other references, like, you know, driving on the left-hand side of the road or something? You know, are there going to be other things where it all mixes up? So so that again was quite interesting for me. And why is the sky purple? Is that a significant thing, or is this him tripping out, or just or is this kind of reference to Wes?
I think it made sense to me about the driving on the left, because he was driving on the right as you normally would in that country, and then all these other people driving on the left. So he's just like, was it British people over? I think it was all that it meant. But yeah, it could tie in, couldn't it?
As someone pointed out, it's like selective reversal. You know, is a throttle on the left rather than on the right of his scooter. You know, it's. You're kind of picking and choosing what's reversed and what isn't. And it would be cleverer if everything was reversed. You know, if it came out of his front door and had to turn left instead of right, for example. If everything was back to front, it would be a lot cleverer.
Oh, can I just say one more thing, Angela? Just while I think of it, we often say, we get a bit frustrated in terms of where things are set and when. And I guess we're imagining America. That was the sort of accent we were going for anyway. But do we think the time is roughly the present, or what does it say? Where is it?
That's what I wrote on the top, because as I was reading it, I was getting slightly confused as I was reading it. I've got a part of my brain that carries on thinking whilst I do one other thing.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, oh, this is the UK. And then I was thinking, oh, hang on, no, it's not. Oh, hang on, yes, it is. Oh, hang on, no, it's not. And I did that for the first 2 pages. And I think what caught me was the name Witherspoon, because I was thinking Weatherspoons.
Yes.
Which for Russ, if you don't know Weatherspoons, it's we spit at it. It's a chain of public houses, bars, to you.
Run by a horrible man.
And then, of course, Vespa. And I know Vespas were big everywhere, but I was instantly thinking, oh, Vespas are very,
Mods.
mods and rockers thing. So the references were a bit, all over the place. I thought, I thought it had quite a Truman Show flavour to it at the start. And I was thinking that whole Truman Show start where he goes out, gets up, goes out of his house, that for me, it kind of echoed that. I think all of that, you're right, it's very, very wordy. It's very well written, and it could read like a novel. It doesn't read like a script. It reads more like a novel. Having said that, I think one of the ways you could compress a lot of that was just do it as a series of shots.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'd be done. You'd do that in half a page, sort of thing. What else have I written? I think when you go to the frat house, the bit of the party sort of thing, you could have a little bit of dialogue in there just to break up those first 2 pages, even if it's only a hi, do you want a drink, or, one of that kind of throwaway stuff. I think a lot of the wordiness comes from playing out the whole scene and not letting the actors do their thing. So and I actually do big Becky waves goodbye to Trip and he climbs in the back seat. You just need to say Becky waves goodbye, he gets in car, it's kind of it's compressing it. Later the car screeches to a halt. That's a whole other shot. That later needs to be a different shot. And it's just compressing it, isn't it? It didn't have a great deal of other stuff. I think the dialogue worked really well, and the confusion about when it was, I didn't have a problem with any of that. So I think apart from those couple of pages at the start and the bathroom wearing, I'd be interested to know where it was going to go and what was going to happen to it. I just think those couple of pages need compressing.
There's certainly something there.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely.
All righty.
It does. Yeah.